Hi, it's John from Electro-Harmonix, and we're at Namm 2016, and we've got 4 new pedals, well, actually, 5 new pedals for Namm. So let's dig in. First on the list, we have 2 Leslie simulators. One's called the Lester G, the other one's called the Lester K, and Lester G is for guitar, and Lester K is for keyboards. So let me just tell you a little backstory why we have 2 of them. So the Lester G is for guitar. It has a built-in compressor. It has an expression pedal input for the speed of the ramp. So you basically have 2 speeds of a Leslie, slow and fast. Well, with this expression pedal, you can kind of tailor your ramp speed. If you don't have an expression pedal, you can tailor it with the accelerator knob, which is right here, and that determines the ramp speed of the Leslie. It has a drive, it has a balance control, it's mono in and stereo out. Now, Lester K, and Lester K is for keyboards. Now, Lester K has stereo in and stereo out. So that's for keyboards that maybe, are missing some kind of Leslie or swirly modulation thing. I have it stereo, but we're only miking up 1 amp, so we're just going to go mono. And basically the big difference is the Lester K doesn't have a compressor. So if you're a guitar player and you already have a compressor and you want to save some money, you want to save some space on your pedal board, you can buy the Lester K. But let's dive into the Lester G. So first I'm going to play it with some medium drive. I'll kind of show you the compression part and the drive part. So here we are, no compression and some medium drive. Give it a little more juice. I'm going to put on a little compression and a little more drive. Now let's just go to the Lester K and we'll compare the differences. I'll try to set the settings similar to that, and you'll hear it without compression. And then I'm going to click on our bass compressor, which sounds great on guitar anyway, but more to come on that. Now I'm going to put on a compressor, and you're going to get basically almost the same sounds as the Lester G. So you're going to get 90% of that kind of tone. Nice. So yeah, so the ramp speed is kind of just like a Leslie. So a real Leslie has spinning motors and stuff and takes a while to ramp up and ramp down. So the Lester K just kind of has that same thing that a real Leslie would have. So great. So now let's just move to the bass preacher since I put it on. I don't have a bass or a bass amp with me, but I'll just kind of explain it. So we have a Electro-Harmonix has a soul preacher, and we decided just to kind of optimize that for bass. So and our bass player was working on it too. So kind of voiced it of what he wanted a bass compressor to sound like, and it sounds great on bass. And you can go to Electro-Harmonix at ehx.com and see the bass demo on it. It sounds great. It's really simple. It just has volume, sustain, and the attack switch is just fast, medium, and slow, and that just kind of determines when the compression starts. So you get kind of it's not super squashy. It's not like this like ceiling. You can actually get some great dynamics with it, and it sounds great. So I'll just put it on. I like medium, and I'll kind of squash it out a little bit, but it doesn't get that squishy. So you can see how it really evened out my tone. So that's the bass preacher. Next, we've got the Soul Pog. Now the Soul Pog is um, a Soul Food, which is our transparent overdrive, and a Nano Pog in one pedal. And it has an effects order switch, so you can actually have the Soul Food going into the Nano Pog or the Nano Pog going into the Soul Food, and they sound different. It also has an effects loop, so you can insert effects between them. So you may not always want your Soul Food right next to your Pog, so you can put effects in them, which is great. One thing that's unique to this Pog, to the Pog side, the polyphonic octave generator side, is a mode switch. And the mode switch has two different algorithms, and one's kind of optimized for single note playing, and the other one's optimized for chords. They work both for whatever you want to use them for, but we just found it's kind of like I call it like a sweetener. So I'll put on the Soul Food, and we'll kind of I'll put on the Pog later. So here's my clean tone and Soul Food. So the Soul Food has like kind of a real ampy sound. It doesn't really sound like a big fuzz box. It just kind of sounds like your amp cranked. And I have it really low actually. It's almost lower than my clean tone, but it sounds good. It sounds really natural. So you can use it as a clean boost. You can add, it's got volume, treble, and drive, and it's been out for a while, so I'm pretty sure you're familiar with it. The Nanopox side. So what I'm going to do is I have it set up for kind of a pseudo bass thing, and I'll demonstrate the sound, why we would want the effects order switch. So this is the Soul Food going into the Pog. Now I'll switch it and you'll hear a different sound. So it's a different tonality, and you get different things. When it's really loud, it gets pretty ferocious sounding. You can also do, I'll turn this part off, you can also do like fake 12-string stuff by putting the dry, so basically you have 3 volume knobs, so I'm going to put the dry guitar in and an octave up. And this is with the sound optimized for single notes. And it's really together. Now, if I put the mode switch on, which is really for chords, you can hear that it sounds different. The octave kind of trails behind it, just, ever so slightly. Which actually is useful for some thickening parts if you really want to get a nice thick, really stands out. But what it's for is for chords. So I'm going to turn off the dry, and it's kind of a sweetener. So it sounds really natural. And you can do that fake 12-string I was talking about. Yeah, so it's a great little pedal. Sounds great on its own. Well, there's one more thing. The Super Space Drum. Now this is a reissue of our about 1980 pedal that Electro-Harmonix did, and it's a kind of a electronic drum thing. So it sounds pretty crazy. It's it's for those retro sounds, and you can get get really deep sounds. Now we also have a crash pad, so this is kind of to complement the crash pad and the your crash pad and super space drum. You can use it with sequencers. You can put a drum trigger in there and get different sounds. Now this goes really deep, but we can't really hear it through a guitar amp. But it's just a really fun device. Get really kind of crazy sounds out of it. So it's that kind of cool retro thing that might be popular with the EDM crowd, noisemakers, and just people that want to have crazy effects. So that's it for Namm. I'm John, Electro-Harmonix, 2016 Namm. Thanks, Lava Cable. Cheers.
And it can get really loud. It's got a lot of volume on tap, which is kind of fun. The next thing is the Julia chorus. It's an analog chorus vibrato. So you've got two different LFO waveforms, sine and triangle. The normal rate and depth controls you'd expect to see, and then we get a little creative from here. So we've got a dry-wet mix knob, so at full dry, you have no effect. It's straight through, just like the bypass signal. As you start to come towards noon, you start